The chamber was silent. 7 alien leaders sat on high seats, their glowing eyes fixed on the small figure standing in the middle. The girl looked fragile, almost weak compared to the tall and powerful beings around her. Her hands shook, but her eyes carried a strange fire. One of the leaders spoke with a cold voice. "She has failed. She is broken. Send her back." The girl's chest tightened. She had tried every test, every trial, but no matter what she did, the 7 always shook their heads. She could not run as fast as the others. She could not lift the heavy stones they placed before her. She could not bend the metal rods with her hands. To the aliens, she was nothing. Broken, they repeated. Useless. Not worthy. The chamber filled with cruel laughter. Her heart pounded. Was this the end? Was her life only this? Being called useless by beings who thought themselves perfect? She lowered her head, ashamed, while the 7 turned away, ready to dismiss her like trash. But deep inside, she felt something stir. A voice within her whispered, "You are not broken. You are different." Still, no one in that chamber cared. The guards pulled her back, ready to throw her out forever. Then from the shadows, a sound broke the silence. A voice. A human voice. "I will take her." The words echoed like thunder. Every alien froze. The 7 turned sharply, their eyes glowing brighter. From the back of the hall, a single human stepped forward. He was tall, but not compared to the aliens. He had no glowing skin, no strange powers, no weapons. Just calm eyes and steady steps. "You?" One alien leader hissed. "You want this broken one? Why?" The human did not flinch. "Because she is not broken," he said. "She is something you do not understand." The chamber erupted with laughter. The 7 mocked him openly. Humans always foolish. "She is useless. She cannot even pass the first trials." The human ignored them. His eyes stayed on the girl. She was staring at him, confused, almost afraid. No one had ever spoken for her before. No one had ever defended her. "Why?" she whispered softly, her voice barely heard. "Why would you take me?" The human knelt slightly so his eyes were level with hers. His voice was calm but strong. "Because I see fire in you. They call you broken, but I see something else. You are not weak. You are just different. And that difference is your strength." The girl blinked, her eyes wide. She wanted to believe him, but all her life she had only heard one thing. Broken. The 7 grew impatient. Their voices rose like thunder. "You cannot take her. She belongs to us. She has failed. She has no value." But the human stood tall. His words cut through their anger. "She chooses now, not you." The chamber fell silent. For the first time, the girl realized she had never been given a choice. The aliens had always spoken for her. But this human, he asked her to decide. Her hands trembled. Her heart raced. Could she trust him? Or was this another trap? The 7 leaned forward, waiting for her answer. The guards tightened their grip on their weapons. The whole chamber seemed to hold its breath. Finally, with a shaky voice, she whispered, I choose him." Gasps filled the room. The 7 slammed their hands down in fury. "Impossible! This cannot be allowed." But the human stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. His touch was steady, grounding her shaking body. He looked straight at the 7 and said, "From this moment she is mine to protect. You cannot break what was never broken to begin with." The girl's eyes widened. For the first time in her life, someone believed in her. The 7's voices turned cold. "Very well, human. Take your broken one, but remember this. She will fail you, and when she does, you will both be destroyed." The chamber lights dimmed as the 7 vanished into shadows, their laughter echoing in the air. The girl felt fear twist inside her. What if they were right? What if she truly was broken? But the human looked at her, his eyes calm and certain. "You are not broken," he said again. You are the key. And together, we will prove them wrong. The girl swallowed hard, her heart beating like a drum. For the first time, she dared to believe it might be true. The guards opened the doors. The girl and the human walked out together, leaving the chamber behind. The path ahead was dark, unknown, and filled with danger. But something had changed. For the first time, she was not alone. And for the first time, the seven were afraid. The hall still trembled from the seven's laughter. Their words clung to the air like poison. Broken. Useless. Worthless. But outside the chamber, the world was different. The air was cold and sharp, filled with the hum of alien machines. The girl walked beside the human, her small steps uncertain. Guards watched them with mocking eyes, whispering insults as they passed. "Why him?" one guard sneered. "A human with a broken one. Both will die soon." The girl lowered her head in shame. The words cut her like blades. She had heard them all before. But the human didn't slow. His steps were calm, steady, like he carried a secret no one else could see. When they reached the open court, he finally spoke. "You heard them," he said softly. She nodded. "They are right. I am broken." He stopped walking and turned to her. His eyes were sharp, steady as stone. "No, they are wrong. You are not broken. You are simply unseen. They do not understand you because they do not want to." She looked up at him, confused. "Then why do you?" The human gave a faint smile. "Because humans have always been called broken. We were small, weak, unworthy, according to the universe, but we survived. And do you know why?" She shook her head. "Because weakness can hide strength," he said. "And difference can be power." The girl blinked. His words sank deep into her heart, like seeds in dry soil. Still, she asked the question burning in her chest. "Why me? Out of everyone, why did you choose me?" The human's smile faded. His voice grew low, serious. "Because when I looked into your eyes, I saw something the seven fear. Fire. Not of muscle, not of power, but of spirit. That is the only flame that never dies." She gasped, staring at him. Could it be true? Could the seven actually fear her? Before she could ask more, a loud sound burst through the court. A group of alien elites stood there, laughing. Their glowing armor shone like silver flames. "Look at this," one shouted. "The human takes the broken one as his pet." Another mocked, "Will you carry her when she falls, or bury her when she dies?" The girl trembled. Her legs felt weak. The humiliation was crushing. But before the fear could swallow her, the human stepped forward. His voice was calm but sharp as a blade. "She will not fall, she will not die, and when the time comes, she will stand higher than all of you." The aliens laughed harder, their voices booming across the court. They pointed at him as if he was insane. But the girl felt something stir again inside her. His words wrapped around her heart like armor. For the first time, someone did not defend her out of pity, but out of belief. The crowd slowly scattered, still laughing, still mocking. But the seed of doubt had been planted. Some whispered quietly, "Why does he believe in her?" The girl and the human walked on until they reached a quieter path. Strange towers rose above them, filled with the hum of alien energy. The stars shimmered in the sky like watchful eyes. She finally whispered, "They will laugh until the end." The human looked at the stars. "Then let them laugh. Their laughter blinds them. They will never see the danger until it is too late." She tilted her head. "Danger?" The human's gaze grew distant, almost cold. "Yes, you. They fear you, though they don't admit it yet. That is why they called you broken. Not because you failed, but because they are afraid of what you might become." Her breath caught. The thought was impossible, yet his words made her heartbeat quicken. "If I am not broken," she whispered, "then what am I?" The human turned, his voice steady, almost solemn. "You are the key. the bridge between what is and what is coming. And if I am right, you are the one who will change everything. Her body trembled not with fear, but with something new, something she had never felt before. Hope. But hope was dangerous. She knew the 7 were watching. She knew the guards reported every step. She knew the world around her wanted her crushed before she could rise. Yet for the first time she wondered, what if she was more than broken? The human's eyes softened. Do not try to become them. Be yourself. That is your strength, and I will stand with you until the end. Silence stretched between them, filled only by the hum of alien towers. Then far away a deep sound rolled through the sky like thunder. The girl froze. The human tensed. Ships moved above, dark shadows blotting out the stars. The 7 had sent a message. They were not finished with her. And somewhere in the distance, a voice of one of the 7 whispered in the wind, carried on hidden speakers. She will never rise. She will fail. And when she does, both will burn. The girl shivered. The human clenched his fists. The path ahead was no longer just survival. It was war, and the broken one was about to learn how dangerous she truly was. The night was silent when the human led her to a forgotten place. It was not a hall of shining towers, not a chamber of glowing seats. It was only a cracked courtyard hidden behind broken walls far from the eyes of the 7. This is where we start, he said. The girl looked around, confused. Start what? Training, he answered simply. If you are to rise, you must learn the human way. She frowned. The human way? But I cannot even pass the alien tests. How will I pass yours? The human gave a faint smile. That is why you will. Because alien trials are made to crush you. Mine will be made to awaken you. She stared at him, unsure if she should feel hope or fear. The human placed a stone on the ground, not a giant one like the aliens used. Not something impossible to lift. Just a small one. Pick it up. The girl bent, her hand shaking, and lifted it with effort. She looked at him, puzzled. This isn't easy. Good, he said. Then we make it harder. And so it began. Day after day he gave her tasks. Small at first, stones, ropes, wooden sticks. He made her run short distances, then longer. He made her balance on narrow beams until her legs shook. He taught her to breathe slowly, to calm her racing heart. Every time she fell, she whispered, I am broken. And every time, the human answered, No, you are learning. The words repeated like a rhythm, like a hammer shaping steel. Still she failed. Many times. Her body trembled with exhaustion. Her hands bled from gripping rough wood. Her feet blistered from endless running, and in her mind the voices of the 7 returned. Broken, useless, nothing. One night after she collapsed in the dirt, she whispered, Why do you not give up on me? The human crouched beside her. His face was calm, but his eyes carried fire. Because the day I give up on you, the 7 win. And I refuse to let them win. She stared at him, stunned. No one had ever spoken like that for her. The next morning, something inside her changed. When she lifted the stone, her hands did not shake as much. When she ran, her steps grew steadier. When she balanced on the beam, she lasted longer before falling. It was not strength of muscle. It was something deeper, something human. But the world outside was not silent. One evening, as they trained, shadows appeared at the edge of the courtyard. Alien figures watched, their armor glowing faintly. They laughed. Look at her struggle. She trains like a child. She will never rise. The human is wasting his time. The girl froze. Shame burned in her chest. She wanted to run, to hide, to disappear. But the human stood between her and the shadows. His voice was calm but strong enough to cut the night. She is already stronger than you think. And when her time comes, you will see what true strength looks like. The alien sneered and walked away, their laughter echoing behind them. The girl looked at him, wide-eyed. Why do you always speak for me? He shook his head. I do not speak for you. I speak because they are blind. You will answer them yourself one day. With your own strength. Her heart beat faster. His faith was like fire, and it burned against her fear. Weeks passed. Training grew harder. The human no longer gave her small stones. Now she carried heavy packs across the cracked courtyard. She learned how to strike with her hands, not with brute force, but with precision. He taught her to watch, to wait, to think before moving. You don't need to be faster, he told her. You only need to be smarter. Slowly, she began to understand. When her body could not win, her mind could. One day, he placed a puzzle before her. Strange pieces of alien metal scattered across the ground. Build something useful, he said. She frowned. But I don't know how. Neither did I once, he said. So learn. Hours passed. She twisted the pieces, failed, started again. Frustration burned, but she refused to stop. Finally, she built a small device that sparked with light. Her eyes widened. I did it. The human nodded. Not broken. Only learning. For the first time, she smiled. A real smile. But the moment did not last. That night, as they rested by the broken wall, a deep hum filled the air. Ships moved above, their shadows blotting out the stars. The girl shivered. She knew that sound. The seven were watching again, and from the distance a voice carried through the wind. Cold. Cruel. She will fail again. And when she does, both will fall. The girl clenched her fists, her heart racing. Fear clawed at her chest. But the human only looked up at the dark sky, his voice steady. Then let them watch. Let them see how a broken one becomes impossible. The girl's breath caught. His words burned in her mind, and for the first time she believed she might truly rise. The sky was red when they came back. For weeks the girl had trained with the human. For weeks she had fallen, risen, and tried again. And for weeks the shadows of the seven had been silent. But silence never lasts. The ground shook as massive ships descended, their engines roaring like thunder. Towers of fire lit the horizon. The air grew heavy, thick with fear. The girl froze where she stood, her heart pounding. She knew this presence. The seven had returned. The human's face grew hard. Stay behind me, he said, but she shook her head. No, not this time. The courtyard filled with blinding light as seven towering figures appeared. Their forms glowed. Their eyes burned like stars. The air cracked with their power. Every guard, every bystander fell to their knees. Only the human and the girl remained standing. One of the seven stepped forward, his voice echoing like thunder. You dare to keep her? The human did not flinch. She chose me. She is free. Free? The word dripped with venom. She was ours to test. She failed. She belongs to us. The girl trembled, but her voice, though soft, escaped her lips. I am not yours. Gasps spread through the crowd. For the first time she had spoken against them. The seven turned their blazing eyes on her. Their laughter was cruel. You speak now? Bold words from one who failed every trial. Do you think training with this weak human makes you strong? The girl swallowed hard. Their words stabbed her chest, but this time they did not break her. She looked at the human. His calm eyes told her, do not stop, I am not broken, she whispered. Not anymore. The seven grew silent. Their glowing forms leaned closer. The air turned colder. Finally, one said, then prove it. The girl's breath caught. Another continued. You will face the trials again. But this time not for yourself. This time the human's life is bound to yours. The human's eyes narrowed. So if she fails, we both die? The seven's laughter shook the earth. Yes, if she is truly more than broken, let her prove it before all. If she falls, you fall with her. The girl's legs weakened. She felt the world tilt. The human's life, his very existence, now hung on her success. She whispered, I can't. The human placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice was steady, calm, like a rock in a storm. Yes, you can. You are not the same girl they rejected. You are stronger now, stronger than you know. Her eyes burned with tears. But what if I fail? Then we fail together, he said simply. The seven raised their hands and the ground shifted. From the earth rose a great arena of stone and steel, glowing with alien energy. The crowd of guards and bystanders gathered at the edges, whispering in fear and awe. The girl stared at the vast arena. Her heart thundered. Memories of failure filled her mind. Stumbling, falling, breaking under the weight of impossible tests. But then she remembered nights of running under the stars. She remembered her bleeding hands gripping wood until she no longer shook. She remembered the human's voice every time she fell. Not broken. Learning. She clenched her fists. This time would be different. The seven's voices boomed across the arena. If she wins, she lives. If she fails, she and the human die. The crowd cheered, hungry for blood. The girl's body shook, but her eyes burned with quiet fire. The human leaned close, his voice only for her. Remember, do not fight like them. Fight like you. Think like you. Trust what we learned. She nodded, breathing slow. The first trial rose before her, a wall of stone twice her height. The same wall she had once failed to climb. The crowd jeered, laughing already. She will fall again. She cannot do it. Her hands touched the wall. Rough, cold, impossible. But she remembered her training. Small steps, balance, patience. Instead of rushing, she searched for hidden cracks, small holds. Slowly, carefully, she climbed. Her arms trembled, but her mind guided her. Step by step, she rose. The crowd grew quiet. At the top, she pulled herself over, breathless. She had passed the first trial. The 7 leaned forward. Their eyes burned brighter. The next trial appeared, shifting platforms above a pit of fire. Once she had fallen here, mocked for her weakness. Now she closed her eyes. She remembered the balance beam, the endless hours of falling and standing again. She stepped forward, slow, steady. The platform shook, but she did not. Step by step, she crossed. The crowd gasped. The 7's laughter faltered. She reached the end. The girl stood tall, sweat dripping down her face, but her eyes blazing. The 7's voices thundered. Do not celebrate yet. The hardest trial remains. And this time, you will not face it alone. The ground split open, and from the shadows something massive rose, an alien beast covered in steel, eyes glowing red. The girl's breath caught. The crowd roared. The human's voice reached her, calm and steady. Remember, you are not broken. And you are not alone. Her trembling hands curled into fists. Her heart pounded, but she stepped forward. The final trial had begun. The ground shook as the beast stepped forward. It was taller than any wall she had climbed, stronger than any weight she had lifted. Its skin was covered with plates of steel, glowing red lines running across its body like rivers of fire. Its eyes burned with hate, fixed only on her. The crowd cheered wildly. To them, the trial was already over. No broken one could face such a monster. Not even the strongest aliens had survived this test. The girl's knees trembled. Fear clawed at her chest. She remembered every time she had fallen, every time the 7 had laughed, but then she heard his voice. Calm, steady, unshaken. You don't need to fight its strength, the human said. You only need to outthink it. Her breath slowed. She forced herself to look again, not at its size, not at its power, but at the details. The beast moved slowly. Its heavy legs cracked the ground beneath it. Its steel armor was thick, but not everywhere. Small joints glowed brighter, weak spots. Her mind sparked. The beast roared and charged. The ground split under its weight. The girl ran, her heart racing. The crowd laughed. She runs. She flees. But she was not fleeing. She was watching, learning. The beast swung its claws, smashing stone where she had stood. She rolled aside, remembering the human's training. Do not fight force with force. Use their strength against them. She ran toward a pillar, the beast following. At the last second, she leapt aside. The monster's weight slammed into the pillar, cracking its steel surface. The crowd gasped. The 7 narrowed their glowing eyes. The girl's breath was heavy, but her mind was sharp. She could not overpower the beast, but she could make it destroy itself. Again and again she dodged, leading it into walls, pillars, and broken stone. Each time its armor cracked a little more, her body ached. Her legs burned. But every step she took was guided by thought, not panic. Finally, she saw her chance. The beast's leg joint glowed brighter, exposed from repeated strikes. She grabbed a shard of broken metal from the ground. Her hands bled as she held it tight. The beast charged one last time. She waited until the final moment, then rolled under its legs and drove the shard deep into the glowing joint. The monster roared in pain. Its massive body stumbled, then crashed into the arena floor with earth-shaking force. Silence. For a heartbeat, the whole arena froze. The crowd's laughter died. The only sound was the crackle of the beast's broken armor. Then the gasps began. She defeated it? Impossible. No broken one could do this. The girl stood shaking, blood on her hands, sweat on her face. But her eyes burned brighter than ever. The human's voice broke the silence. Strong, proud. She did not win with muscle. She won with mind. That is the strength you never understood. The 7's forms flickered with fury. Their voices boomed across the arena. This is nothing, a trick. She is still weak. But even as they spoke, the crowd was no longer laughing. Some whispered. Some stared with awe. For the first time, the broken one had made them doubt. The girl looked at the seven. Her voice was soft, but it carried across the arena. You called me broken. But I am not broken. I am human-taught. The words spread like fire. The seven's fury grew. Their glowing forms pulsed with anger. Enough, she is dangerous. She must be destroyed before others believe in her. The human stepped forward, placing himself between her and the seven. You fear her, he said coldly. That is why you rejected her. That is why you laugh. But your fear cannot stop what has already begun. The girl's body trembled, but this time it was not fear. It was power. A strength she had never known was rising inside her. The seven's voices shook the arena. Very well. If she thinks herself strong, then let her face all of us. The next trial will not test her body, but her soul. The ground cracked open. Flames erupted. A ring of fire surrounded them both. The air grew heavy, almost crushing. The girl gasped. The human's hand gripped hers tightly. His voice was calm. This is their greatest fear. Not that you fail, but that you rise, and now they will try to break what they cannot understand. Her heart pounded, but she lifted her chin. She was no longer just the broken one. She was a challenger, and the seven knew it. The ring of fire burned around them, crackling and hissing like a living creature. Smoke rose into the night, carrying the smell of ash. The girl stood in the center, her chest heaving, her body bruised, her hands still bloody from the last trial. The seven loomed above, their glowing eyes fixed on her. Their voices filled the air like thunder. She survives too long. She is not broken, as we claimed. She is dangerous. The girl swallowed hard. Their words stabbed into her mind, but this time, doubt did not consume her. Instead, a question grew stronger inside her. Why? Why did they call me broken at all? The human stepped forward, his eyes locked on the towering figures. His voice was calm but sharp as a blade. Tell her the truth. The seven hissed, their forms flickering. Truth, she is nothing. She failed. She does not belong. But the human's gaze did not waver. No, she was never weak. You knew that. You called her broken because you feared what she might become. The girl's eyes widened. Her heart raced. She turned toward the seven. Is it true? The fire blazed higher. Their voices thundered with fury. Silence. Do not question us. But the human stepped closer to her side, his voice strong enough to cut through their rage. They lied to you. They lied to everyone. You are not broken. You are different, and your difference is the very thing that could destroy their power. The crowd around the arena gasped. Whispers spread like wildfire. What does he mean? Different? How? The girl's body trembled. She had lived her whole life believing she was weak, unworthy. Now the ground beneath her seemed to shift. She shouted over the crackle of the fire, her voice breaking but fierce. If I am not broken, then what am I? The seven's silence was louder than thunder. The human's voice answered. Low, steady, certain. You are evolution. The words struck the crowd like lightning. The girl staggered back, her heart racing. Evolution? The word burned in her chest. The human continued, his eyes locked on the seven. They feared you because your body is not like theirs. Your weakness is not weakness, it is change. Faster healing, sharper mind, hidden strength they cannot measure. They called you broken so no one would see the truth. You are something new, something beyond them. Gasps rippled across the arena. The crowd's whispers grew louder, filled with awe and fear. She is evolution. Could she replace them? Is this why they lied? The girl's knees weakened. She remembered every insult, every laugh, every cruel word. Broken, useless, nothing. All of it had been a lie. Her eyes filled with tears, not of shame, but of rage. She lifted her head, staring at the seven. You feared me all this time. You called me broken because you knew I was not like you. The seven's forms burned brighter, their voices shaking the fire itself. She must not rise. If she spreads, our rule ends. She is a threat to everything. The human's hand touched her shoulder, grounding her trembling body. They cannot stop what has already begun. You survived every trial not because you were stronger, but because you were different. That difference is your gift. And now it is time to use it, the girl's heart thundered. For the first time, she saw the seven not as gods, but as cowards hiding behind lies. The fire blazed higher, surrounding them. The heat pressed against her skin, but she did not step back. Her voice rang out, fierce and clear. I am not broken. I am not yours. I am the beginning of something you cannot control. The crowd roared with shock. Some shouted in fear. Others cheered, daring to believe her words. The Seven's fury shook the arena. Enough, if she will not bow, then she will burn. The flames surged toward her, wild and merciless. The girl closed her eyes, bracing for pain. But the fire did not consume her. When she opened her eyes, the flames parted around her, bending away from her body as if repelled. The crowd gasped in terror and wonder. The human's voice was steady, almost like prophecy. There it is, proof. She is more than them all. The Seven's forms flickered. For the first time, they looked uncertain. The girl stepped forward, her eyes blazing, her voice cutting through the chaos. You called me broken, but I am the future, and you are afraid. Silence. Then the arena erupted, not with fire, but with voices. The crowd chanted louder and louder. Some cried her name. Others shouted in defiance of the Seven. The rulers who had once been feared now faced something far more dangerous. Doubt. The Seven's voices rose in fury. She must be destroyed. If she lives, we fall. The girl stood tall in the ring of fire, her shadow rising against the flames. For the first time, she was not trembling. For the first time, she believed fully. She was not broken. She was evolution, and the Seven knew it. The arena shook like a living heart. The crowd's chants echoed against the burning walls. The girl stood inside the circle of fire, her chest rising and falling, her eyes blazing with new strength. The human stood beside her, calm but unyielding. And above them, the Seven glowed with fury. She defies us. She poisons the crowd with lies. She must be erased. Their voices boomed like thunder, shaking the air. But no matter how loud they roared, the crowd did not fall silent. Whispers had become belief. Doubt had become fire. The girl lifted her head. Her voice was clear, sharp, impossible to ignore. You called me broken, but I have risen. I survived every trial. I faced your beast, and I am still here. Do you know why? Because I am not your failure, I am your end. Gasps rippled through the audience. The Seven's glow flickered like flames caught in a storm. The human's voice joined hers, calm but strong. You fear her because she is what you are not. She learns. She adapts. She evolves. That is what humans taught her. That is what you cannot stop. The Seven's fury grew hotter. Their forms stretched tall, their light blinding. Then face us all. If you are evolution, prove it against your creators. The ground split open and 7 streams of energy crashed into the arena. The 7 descended, their glowing forms towering like gods. The air burned. The crowd screamed and scattered, some hiding, some staying to witness the impossible. The girl's knees trembled, but she did not fall. She clenched her fists, her voice steady. I will face you. Not as your broken one, not as your property, but as myself. The human stepped closer, his eyes locked on hers. And not alone, she met his gaze. For the first time, she felt not just belief, but partnership. Together they faced the storm. The 7 attacked. Bolts of fire split the air. Waves of crushing force slammed toward them. Shadows twisted like claws, the girl moved. She remembered every lesson. The balance beam, the patience of puzzles, the precision of strikes. She dodged the fire, used the blast to shatter stone walls into cover, and struck back not with raw power but with thought. Where one 7 lunged, she redirected its strength into another. Where fire raged, she bent low, letting it burn empty air. And always the human was there. His voice cut through the chaos. Wait, now move. Strike there. Use their own weight. Together they moved like one. Not power against power, but mind against arrogance. Slowly, impossibly, the 7 faltered. One stumbled, crashing into the arena floor. Another's glowing form flickered as it struck against its own ally. The crowd gasped louder with every fall. This cannot be. They are losing. The 7 screamed in rage. She is nothing. She cannot win. But the girl's voice rose above their fury. I am not nothing. I am not broken. I am the proof that you cannot control everything. Her words shook the arena more than their power. The final strike came. One of the 7 raised a massive storm of fire, enough to burn everything to ash. The girl looked at the human. Fear flashed in her eyes, but he only nodded, calm, steady, certain. She turned toward the fire, closed her eyes, and stepped forward. The flames surged. The crowd screamed, but the fire bent around her just as it had before. It curved, split, and died at her feet. Gasps filled the air. The Seven's light flickered. The girl lifted her hand. The flames swirled at her command, turning back toward the glowing giants who had once called her broken. The Seven roared, but their power collapsed under her will. One by one, their forms shattered like glass, breaking into sparks that vanished into the night. Silence fell. The girl stood in the center of the arena, fire circling her like a crown. The human stepped beside her, his eyes steady, his voice filled with pride. "You are no longer their broken one. You are the beginning of a new age." The crowd erupted. Some shouted her name. Others bowed. But all of them knew the Seven had fallen. The girl's chest rose and fell. She was exhausted, trembling, but her eyes burned with something greater than strength. Purpose. The human bowed slightly before her. His voice carried not just respect but devotion. "My queen," her breath caught. She had never been called anything but broken. Now she was called queen. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice was strong. "I am not their queen. I am the queen of those who were cast aside. I am the queen of the broken, who were never broken at all." The crowd roared louder, their voices shaking the sky. And above, the stars burned brighter, as if the universe itself had witnessed the birth of something new. The human looked at her, his words soft but certain. "This is only the beginning." The girl lifted her gaze to the endless stars. For the first time, she did not see a prison. She saw a future. She was no longer the broken one, she was evolution. She was the human's queen.